3 days later.
Hello, Chomperoos! Welcome to Chomp Down Reviews. This is like my 5th time recording this review, so I'm gonna jump right into this. I saw The Killing Joke, and I had been waiting for so long to see The Killing Joke. DC decided to finally animate one of their classic tales that I actually have a lot to say about, because they made so many decisions putting this onto the screen finally that it's just like, they messed up a lot, honestly. And not from the story of The Killing Joke. They actually did a pretty good job taking it from page and putting it onto screen. But they made some very interesting decisions because it basically comes back down to what The Killing Joke is as a graphic novel. Now, it perfectly describes the dichotomy between Batman and Joker. And by doing this, it gets very key members of the Bat family involved, including Jim Gordon and his daughter, Barbara Gordon, who is Batgirl. And spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book, you're kind of messing up anyways, and you should probably get into Batman sometime soon, but I'm gonna inevitably spoil things, so I do suggest you go at least read the book, if not go watch the movie before I start talking. Now, I don't remember her being Batgirl in the comic book specifically, but I do remember what happens to her. And what happens to her is shocking, and it makes this one of the most brutal Batman stories, but the whole point of this story is to be shocking, and it's not a long story either, it's very short. So, to make this shocking short story into a whole feature, they had to add a half hour of a completely different movie. They decided to use the first half hour, and basically the first half of this movie, to show you who Batgirl is. And that was a good idea to a degree, because it had no real effects on the second half of the movie except for subtext. And that is bad. And I'll tell you why. Batgirl is only in the story to get brutally injured. Spoiler alert, that's what happens. I'm gonna tell you exactly how in a second, so if you don't want to know. But Joker shows up to her house and blammo! Gets her right in the gut and severs her spine. And she becomes Oracle and can never walk again. That is Barbara Gordon's arc in The Killing Joke. When you have a half hour of her being Batgirl first, it really does help us to learn from her character, but they only really use this whole half hour to do a parallel of the story that we would see later, but with Batgirl and her own nemesis. Nothing that happens in the first half changes anything that happens in the second half. And nothing that Batgirl does in the first half hour has any effect on how she acts later in the Killing Joke story. And the biggest mistake that they made in this half hour was they made Batgirl and Batman Bangman. Ugh. This is bad for a million reasons. Batman and Jim Gordon are like best friends, and it's his best friend's daughter. Batman is a sign of sticking to the good path and doing the right thing and justice for those who do wrong, yet he gets with this girl who's much younger than he is, that he's basically the teacher of. It's just very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And the reason why this is so bad is because it adds a subtext later in the film. Batman shouldn't really be a jealous character. And the first part where he's trying to tell her not to go after her nemesis, it does eventually just become like he's jealous because of the whole sexual aspect.
He thinks he knows you, like there's some kind of relationship going.
This isn't about me, it's about us. It's about you getting protective and sitting in judgment. I won't have it.
And the fact that there's a sexual aspect between Batgirl and her villain draws parallels with Batman and his villain, the Joker, and there's not supposed to be any sexual context there. At least I'd hope not. I don't want to think about Joker and Batman bangmanning. And come on, we did not need to see Barbara Gordon reach for Batman's utility belt and Batman to get a big grab at that booty. Actually, he did get a piece of that booty though, didn't he? But later on in the story, when Batman is trying to get revenge for the people in his Bat family, he's trying to get revenge for Jim Gordon and his daughter. It becomes a lot more him trying to get revenge for his ex-almost lover. And that's not how this story should have been played out. Now, I have my qualms with the end of the movie, but I want to say this before we get any further. Mark Hamill as the Joker is brilliant. He always has been. He is the definitive voice for me for the Joker. And he is just so good. Whereas for Batman, I could see a lot of different actors playing Batman. Kevin Conroy is so good at playing him. Sometimes he'll just say the most simple line while turning around as Batman, And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's just so strong, and it really does feel like Batman. You've really got to respect the fact that they got the classic team back together to do this film. And honestly, for a lot of this movie, it does have the same vibe as the animated absolutely
Batman.
Brilliant
It
work.
feels really nostalgic.
But this whole half hour really could have been better used on fleshing out Jim Gordon's character more. But he's only in it for a few minutes, even though he is the focal point of the Joker's attacks. He's the target. He's the man the Joker's trying to push to the edge. Instead, he ends up pushing Batman to the edge. Which brings us to the end of the movie. Batman is going to get revenge for Barbara Gordon. He's telling Joker, I don't want to hurt you. I want to put you away. I want to end this. I want to stop worrying about you, Joker. And the Joker simply tells him, it's not going to happen. He's screwed. And the titular Killing Joke being told in this was brilliant. I think Mark Hamill did a great job delivering it. I actually laughed out loud. But the thing that I didn't like about the ending, I liked almost all of that. The why aren't you laughing line wasn't that great. I've always pictured him being more sad when he said that rather than, why aren't you laughing? But Kevin Conroy's laugh at the end kind of disappointed me. If it had just got a little more manic, a little more of an oomph, a little more gravitas at the end, it would have been really brilliant. But it was just this static laugh. And that last shot, we are supposed to be wondering if that joke that the Joker told, did it push Batman to choking his life out, destroying his larynx just to shut him up? And Batman laughs maniacally, but in the movie it wasn't maniacal, it was just a hearty bellow laugh. My other biggest problem with this movie is it was rated R. It was billed as this big rated R movie, and yet they didn't really push it to the R rating. Cut away at a lot of the bloody parts, and there were a lot of parts where the criminals were like saying the dumbest things. Just, oh man, friggin' A. Oh, what the F?
Uh-oh, my butt.
Oh, jeez. Oh, what the freak is going on over here? It's rated R. These are bad guys. Ugh. Long story short, The Killing Joke is a short story that is brilliant, and they tried to make it long, and that didn't work out. So long story short, I'd suggest seeing The Killing Joke, but I wouldn't really suggest expecting The Killing Joke when you go to see The Killing Joke. Long story short, they kind of trick you into a Batgirl story for the first half hour, and, well, long story short, it's not that great. And long story short, it ruins the whole ending. Long story short, huge disappointment, 6 out of 10 film, but I still had a really good time. I went to see this in the theaters, which was a lot of fun to see. Hearing people laugh during the sex scene was extremely uncomfortable, but they did add a documentary at the end and a whole interview with Mark Hamill at the beginning about being the Joker and his whole tale of where he's been with the Joker. Really, really fun stuff. So, like I said, I suggest it and I don't at the same time. Thank you so much for watching, and I want to put this out there. If this video gets more than 10 likes, I will dye my hair green until the Suicide Squad movie comes out. And if I give Suicide Squad more than an 8 out of 10, and I'll keep it green for however long whoever gets the most likes on their comments says I should keep it. I just want to see how far I can take this, and if you wouldn't mind giving me a like, that would be awesome. The subscribe button is right there, and I have a ton more Chomp Down reviews on my channel, so thank you so much for watching. I have so many more videos I want to make right now, and I really don't have that much time. I'm working on it. This took forever to get out in the first place. But if you would consider going to my Patreon account, my Facebook page, my Twitter, that would be absolutely wonderful. Just give all those a check out, and I will be right here waiting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, keep chomping down those movies. You know they need it. Take care.